Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are the Bostonian versus the book.
You covered 12. I covered.
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
What's up, Brigade? Happy Monday on a Rithmm Monday. It's time for another episode of the Bostonian versus the book. Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault. We're in Vegas, but today's going to feel like Philadelphia.
A little bit.
We got a lot of Philly.
Yeah.
We got a lot of Philly coming today.
Yeah,
we got James Santore coming on. We got John Kincade from The Fanatic coming on.
Yep.
We are live on our YouTube channel at Boston versus the book and on Twitter X, replayed on Sports Grid TV and Sirius XM channel 159. Dave, Steelers 2-0. How are you on this Rithmm Monday?
Undefeated. That's what I am. Undefeated. The Steelers are. Feels good. Pretty nice. Yeah. It's a good Monday. A lot of things to reflect about. If you're in Survivors and you had the Ravens, sorry. This is a tough one. You know, if you had a bunch of other favorites, Jacksonville, sorry. Just listen, it happens, you know.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. It just all happened yesterday. That was just, it was one of those weeks. Yeah, not a good week. Well, even the millions picking against the spread wasn't good. That's
bad.
If you're in the book today, you're feeling pretty good. You're walking with your chest out. And, you know, boy, oh boy, our numbers are great. We got it all figured out. We got all the answers. It's a good week. It's a good week to be the book guy. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button at the top. Got a bunch of comments on Friday's show. If you haven't already, go back and watch it. Or just go back and leave a comment at this point. If you haven't watched it, you probably should, because we had a bunch of winners, had a lot of fun.
Why don't we extend it till tomorrow? Why don't we let them keep on commenting and give the hats away tomorrow?
That's the plan.
Okay.
That's the plan. They gotta be subscribed to the channel, leave a comment. On Friday's show, if you leave a comment on Friday's show, because I'm going to check it, and if you leave a comment on today's show, to probably put you in the running a little bit higher up the list.
Okay.
3-hat parlay, personally designed by you. The BVB lid that will look somewhat like this. This one doesn't really match my wear today, but this is like a Raiders model, silver and black. You can pick the colors of the B's and the V's. I don't know about the bill, depending on what the inventory is, but we'll get you hats out. Mail out Mondays next week. I think I'm going to institute Brigade made mail out Mondays. So
okay. That sounds cool.
Yeah. If you take care of it, you can do that. Let us know. Email the show, thebvbbshow.com as well.
So before we get to James,
you want to hit him right at the top with this?
Yeah, this will be something we're going to do a lot here as you guys get the hats, and the hats become more and more popular. People are going out. This is really neat. This is where the Brigade was this weekend. These are BVB hats all over the country at a variety of different events. The Patriot game, the Pitt game, the Ravens game, the ODU, Vatech game, the Phillies, a little baseball going on with all BVB hats. And our guy, Josie Myers, he went to a concert. So
Josie Myers went to a wrestling match.
Oh, that's right. That was WWE, right?
Wrestling. No, it wasn't WWE. No, it was a different division.
Okay. Pro wrestling.
And then, Chef Benny at the Patriots game. You see him there. We don't see him. You can post a picture of just the hat at the location.
Yeah, I like the hat. I like just the hat, but I like seeing like Rainmaker on the top left-hand corner is pretty cool too.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be one of those things. I'm good either way. I love the pictures of the people, because right now everybody knows everybody by their screen name, their handle in here, or their Discord name. Our Discord channel, you can find that. Just go to the website, thebvbbshow.com, and get in the Discord, communicate with each other. and do these meetups. And then this thing is just taking control of itself. This is awesome.
It's very
like
cool.
Mikey, awesome.
Yep. Bottom right-hand corner, Mikey, awesome. ODU there for where
Old Dominion. Rough
Old
day
Dominion.
for them at the game, but
really?
okay.
They got worked?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. I didn't see the finals.
Look good though.
It happens. Yeah. So that's what we'll do every Tuesday. We did it Monday today, but we'll give you the Monday Night Football because some people will go to the Monday Night Football game. So on Tuesdays, we will tell you where was the Brigade for the weekend. So kind of Monday, I guess, counts for the weekend in a way because it's technically the wraparound for the NFL. So we'll do that every Tuesday for where was the Brigade. So take your pictures, get the hats. As we've always told you guys, if you want to get a hat, we can take care of you. You can text today. Just don't text during Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Ideally, yeah. Send us an email if you're going to do that.
8255. You can text
Right.
Mondays on Tuesdays, Wednesdays. Those 3 days you can text if you want a hat. 702-570-8255. And maybe you will be featured on that very slide as we roll. My gut tells me we're going to have multiple slides as we get rolling here with stuff, but pretty good stuff there.
Probably get one of the wrenches to come up with something for that. We might have to, let I don't know. I have ideas. We got to be careful with the music, though. We keep getting these emails. I see the thing about the music on emails. It's okay.
Yeah, they get mad. They get mad.
You got
it's a Rithmm Monday.
In the big box.
We got to go to Philly,
baby.
I'm not in Philly, guys.
Santore. Where are you?
I'm in Boston.
Hey!
But
Very nice.
clearly, I'm still repping hard. I got all my Eagle stuff. I'm ready for tonight. It is what it is. But yeah, been in Boston for like 4 days now. I'm here for another 2.
All right.
First order of business. I just have to ask this first one,
Okay.
Matt. Did you really almost throw down on Friday night? Did this really happen? You got to Boston and you tried to get a Boston welcome from a bunch of strangers? Did this really happen?
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Okay.
It was not on me to initiate anything. I have a beautiful girlfriend. I'm a lucky guy. Some guy said something, and I gave him a look, and I just says like that. Some random dude pops out and literally squares up. I didn't even see this guy. Wasn't the same guy. Some dude just squares up on me. I literally laughed at him and walked away. And then all of his buddies tackled him. And then cops walked over, and I'm just like walking away laughing. I was like, it was ridiculous. And I was like,
where were you?
I don't know. It was a cool bar. I don't know where it was, but it was cool.
Were you in a place with tourism, or were you like in Southie?
Nah.
Like where were you?
No, I was in like the heart of Boston. Like where I have no idea.
That probably wasn't a Boston person then. That was probably just some tourist clown.
There was a lot of college kids out. I think it was a college kid.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's not from Boston because you know better in New England, or at least in Boston. If you're like in Southie and you square up, yeah, that's going to go. You expect to have something bad. But if the cops jumped in that quickly, my gut tells me like you were around Faneuil Hall because the police generally aren't around that much.
It was somewhere around there. It was like somewhere in like the historic area. But I was like, his buddies literally tackled him. I swear to God, there's like 7 dudes that were his friends tackling him.
Wow.
It was like, when I tell you, like, I'm going to get up and show you real quick. If I can make a move here.
Oh, well, look at that.
So it comes out of nowhere.
Oh.
And I start cracking up.
Over a look. Come on, man. What are you, 20?
And it wasn't even the same guy. Dude just popped out of nowhere. I was like, who the hell is this guy? It was wild. So I'm alive. I'm good. No fighting.
If you were in Southie, it would have gone differently. That was some clown from New York, probably, who was going to college in Boston and wants to go up there and act like a tough guy, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But on a much lighter and happier note, the books did really, really well, but so did your models this week, because this is pretty wild given how tough it was. 6 outright winners for underdogs, but you guys had a 22% or over 22% ROI on spreads, 44% ROI on money line, and over the course of the season, you guys are up 8.2% with your models on Rithmm. This must be really fun because, again, last year we weren't doing football. This year we are, and the NFL is off to a good start for you guys.
Yeah, it's great. And again, I think you see that ROI being so high because we were on a lot of the dogs, right? I think that's where the predictive analytics come in. It's not just going by like who you think's good. It's what the data's saying. And again, we've been heavy on the dogs so far. Dogs have been barking this year, and our users are loving that. So it's been great.
How about the props? The
props are also on fire. I think it was 8 for 11 the other night on Thursday Night Football. It was 8 for 11. I don't have the numbers yet for yesterday, but I mean, we've been on fire with it.
The single game things does that? So a lot of people will just go, "Hey, we're playing a standalone game. I want to get involved." Are you finding those to be more volume with the props, the standalone games?
When you say sorry, when you say volume, do you mean like when
Monday or Thursday, the prime time
yeah.
or Sunday night prime time. Like it seems like I'm seeing it on social, different people, different things you guys are doing. Those seem to be really, I don't want to say targeted. I just
Mm.
feel like there's more stuff involved in those.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also like on Sunday, it's just you have so much going on with like all your fantasy, you have all the different bets. So I
Yeah.
think people love on like again, like tonight, if you're not an Eagles fan and you can go use Rhythm to get the best player prop predictions, then it really makes you care about that game. It makes you really want to watch. So, I mean, I know again, I'm here with people that are not all Eagles fans and been talking about the app, obviously sharing it with them. And I think they enjoy the prop predictions aspect because it's made every game we've watched like yesterday and then tonight that much more fun for them.
So I'm going to give you guys a shout out and props for this because I did not know what to do with the BC Missouri game. And I was like, man, that number seems really high.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what to do with that. So I went on the app. I've got 3 models on mine for college football. All 3 models all agreed Boston College was the side at plus 17. BC nearly won the game. They nearly won the game outright. It's interesting to see when all 3 of your models, if you're going to subscribe and you get that first level, it's called the core, right? Is the first level?
Yep.
It gives you 3 models you can go ahead and have. When all 3 models tend to agree, that's fire time, right?
That's exactly what I've been doing. And I know I've mentioned my specific model, which I've renamed to Big Trust. Shout out Mark Ingram. But it has been absolutely ridiculous still so far. I'm 45. Let's see. And I get 48 and 15 so far on total points on my Big Trust model so far.
On
Right?
totals?
So, yes.
Oh, my.
So 48 and 15, 22 and 13 on that same model, 22 and 13 on the money line too. So like that is my go-to model now. I also have another one that's called Spread Savvy. It's 31 and 18 on spreads. So that's basically like the first few weeks I've just been trying to evaluate where my models are working. But again, I really feel comfortable now. And the method you just said, Matt, is exactly what I do. I look to see where all my models agree because I know I have 2 really good models. I have one that's testing right now.
Mhm.
When they all agree, I feel real comfortable. And funny enough, and it didn't work out, but I had all my models agree on BC money line at plus 462.
Wow.
I was real excited for a while. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a banger. I'm literally staying in Brighton, in BC territory here.
Right.
And it obviously didn't. And I had them in South Carolina as my dogs because all my models agreed on that.
Okay.
Now, if I was a random person just going on the sports book, there's no chance in hell I would have gone and bet those games, right? But that's where Rhythm's identifying those for me, and that's where I felt comfortable, making those bets. Didn't win, but for a plus 462 dog to be that close to a major upset, that shows something that the data is working the right way.
I mean, I bet it. So I hit the BC number. I didn't bet the LSU game, but I bet the BC game because that model said all 3 models said take BC plus the points. I was okay. Because I was going to fade them because I was like, Bob on the road in the SEC. Come on. Nope. BC was right there.
Yeah. And the other thing too about the models, right? Like you can go to our leaderboard, you can copy models. So if you see somebody else that has a better model than me that you want to copy, you can create your own, you can copy 1, you can copy 2, whatever you want to do that works. We had a guy in our Discord hit us up today and said he's plus 89 units. 89 units since the start of college football. And his method, let me just read this for you because it's really interesting.
Wow.
He said, and this is his method for going up 89 units. And this guy is a monster. 1 second, put it up. All I do each week is copy the 2 highest models, then go through the games, and any that has a green star from both of those models, he takes it. And that's how he's up 89 units in the last, since college football started.
That's fantastic. Are you finding, like, can you turn a non-totals better into a totals better by using the model? Like, because I tell people all the time, the bet pays the same. If you bet on a WNBA game, a football game, a baseball game, it all pays the same. Now the juice is all different, and you have to level your, find your level of tolerance. But people are like, "Oh, I never bet totals," or "Oh, why would I ever play a money line?" The models can give you kind of a discovery process of something, right, James? It doesn't have to be something that you particularly always bet, or might open your eyes to something new. No.
No, absolutely. I mean, again, like I've mentioned this before, like I am, a casual bettor. I don't have the expertise or time to really go and dive deep in everything. I used to only bet player props before I started working with Rithmm. But now, because I'm so confident in my models and the way that I can use this app, I don't just bet player props, right? Like I think being able to diversify because the data is that good is one of the best parts of the app. So no matter what type of bettor you are, you can become a different bettor and expand the way you bet. And that makes it more fun to watch these games, but also is way more lucrative as a bettor.
I think one part of this, and just talking with people about you guys, this is a tool. Okay. So this is not, we're not, the models aren't meaning for you to shut your brain off. The models are, if you like a side, if you like a total, if you like a game, you can then, like I did with BC, I was going to take Missouri. And then I went and looked at it and went, okay, the analytics are saying this is the opposite. Go look deeper. And then I looked deeper and then looked at the line of scrimmage. I looked at the offensive line for Boston College. And I went, okay, they might be able to dominate the offensive line on Missouri. And they did. That's how they stayed in the game. They ran the football. The quarterback's a disaster for BC throwing the ball, but he can run. So I watched the game.
That's a short king. He's 5'9". I love that guy.
Yeah, but he can't throw. He can run. Castellanos can run, but he can't throw. And that's why I bet against him in Florida State. And it finally came back and bit him against Missouri because he can't throw. He can run, but he can't throw.
Yeah.
So, but the running game for BC was so good. That's what I think is really cool about what you guys are doing, because you're not telling people what to bet. You're simply giving them a knife and saying, hey, go to a fight with this knife. And it might work for you. It might not. But overall, you feel more confident firing on a play when you have some analytical backing to it. Are you finding people are feeling more confident? Like 89 units, that's a lot of action. That's a lot of money in play to go ahead and go up that. He's betting, 40, 50 games a weekend probably to get that. Are you finding people are becoming more confident because of what they're seeing with the models?
I think that in that instance that I used for the plus 89 units, that's definitely somebody who has a high volume and that now has extreme confidence in being able to play, 40, 50 times a game, a Saturday and a Sunday. Now, the opposite of that too is like when I'll use Saturday as an example, right? We went to this place called Tall Ship in Boston. It was a tall ship. It was cool as hell. It was outdoors. There was multiple games on TV, and me and my buddy were talking about, I wonder what we should bet on, right? There's multiple college football games, and I showed him how I use the app, and we both felt really confident in being able to go place bets on games we never even thought of, that didn't even know that were on. So I think it's one of those things that it's like you don't have to be an expert on a specific team. You don't have to be an expert on anything. We help you have a really confident decision because the data says, what your models say a specific thing. So really, it's that confidence is the most important thing, because otherwise people would either not bet or just randomly just go place a bet. We always say people that go on a sports book and they take those recommended plays from the book, those are the biggest losers. So those in parlays is how you lose money. But when you feel confident in taking bets that otherwise you may not know about, but now you do because of Rithmm, that's how you can really, again, start getting an ROI up.
Speaking of confidence, how confident are you tonight in the Eagles?
Yeah, because the models are, by the way, I looked before the show. The models are all over the place here on this game. They got, I saw Phillies, I saw Atlanta. What are you seeing, and what do you feel about this game? Because there's a disagreement in the models.
Look, this is one of those where I'm staying away from the game lines here because, one, my heart's into it, and my models all are saying different things as well. So I'm kind of like, I'm not going to force it and then sweat that the whole game when I'm trying to watch as a fan. But this, for me, is where I'll be really watching for props, right? Like, I think this is Monday Night Football, like you guys said earlier. Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football is prop central, right? And I think this game specifically with A.J. Brown out is be really interesting. I think Jalen's going to have a really good game, but one of the predictions that Rithmm loves is Jalen under 1.5 passing touchdowns. And I actually love that because I think there's going to be a ton of ground game here. I think between Saquon and Jalen, like I think we're just going to run the ball through the Falcons line. And Devontae, again, should be the guy, but I hope Goddard gets a little bit more action today. And I just think, look, if the Falcons, really the only way I see the Falcons beating the Eagles tonight is if they finally learn how to use Bijan Robinson. Now they could learn how to finally use Bijan, but in the last year and one game, nobody's figured out how to use them yet. So that's the X factor to me.
We'll see. I think the story of the game will end up being Kirk Cousins, prime time. Like everybody can be talking about that and what he can do against the Eagles defense. Now, when you watch the games and like there's less plays being run, there's less yards being thrown per quarterback per game and all this stuff. Does the models indicate anything on the total tonight?
Well, I'll tell you what, again, mine are a little bit all over the place here. But for the total, I mean, only green star I have is on the under 45.5.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of Rithmm models are also on the under, right?
Yep.
Like we can see about 81%.
Okay.
So the predicted total from that specific Rithmm model is 43.4. So again, it's so it's going to be close. This is also, to me, it's one of those games where I think it's either going to be like right there or it's going to be way over. I don't think it's be way. I think it's either they score a ton of points or they're like right around that, like 21-17 or 24-21. It could be a close game. I'm hoping that it's an absolute bloodbath and I can just be the happiest person in Boston wearing all my Eagles gear. But who knows what to expect.
Better be careful.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I can't get
right.
throwing up on me.
That's what I'm saying. We don't want anyone else jumping out at you or anything like that. One thing to look ahead to this weekend is I was talking with Matt earlier about the games, and Penn State is a 49-point favorite with a 54.5 total against Kent State.
Oh my God.
I don't think there's a model, even at Rithmm, that could come up with a play for that. I'm curious, like, are the games that keep coming up, at least in the college, like 10 points or less? Like, you're not getting any. There's probably no model that's recommending a 17-point favorite or a 20-point favorite, right? It's usually going to favor the dog, if anything at all.
No, I mean, there are times where, again, like I always think about like Alabama playing like the School of the Blind week 1.
Right.
It's always going to be like a 40-point
spread.
Like I have one model that says Kent State plus 40.5.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Now I'm not going to go take that because I don't really see much value in that. I mean, otherwise, it being hilarious if they do like cover somehow. But it's just like, yeah. I mean,
it's like playing the under in like the Tennessee game this past weekend. Like I saw people saying like, "Come on, that number's ridiculous." They were up like 65-0 at one point. Like it was just like, you got to be careful with some of these teams that are willing to go and throw gigantic numbers up and say, "Yeah, we're going to score in every possession." Like, yes, we're going to cover and we're going to score in every possession.
Yeah, I mean that's like, again, like those are games. I guess it's fun to maybe sprinkle some money on that just because it's like, man, because you're like Penn State's got to really score then. It's Drew Aller good enough to score, 56 points or whatever it's going to be to be able to get over that.
Touchdowns just to push. They got to score 7 touchdowns and pitch a shutout
unanswered.
Just to push.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
So
unanswered.
Crazy. Yeah.
So one baseball question before we fully get in. We'll immerse ourselves in this Philadelphia love fest with Kincade coming up here in a little bit.
Love that.
What do you make of the Phillies and their playoff chances here? Because they're talking about Shohei pitching in the postseason. Looks like the Phillies are legitimately going to be one of those top teams, and the Dodgers very well might be afraid of you guys. How are you? Where's your confidence level here with 13 games left to go?
They control their own destiny, right? Like they're a team that I think when everything's rolling for them, they are the best team in baseball. I really believe that, but they are so streaky that they're like, it's kind of just a matter of when guys get hot and guys get cold. Last playoffs, they were unbelievable the first 2 rounds. And then they got, after the game 2 against the Diamondbacks, I don't think they could have hit me pitching. I don't think it didn't matter who was on that mound.
A lot of pitches and you might have walked some guys.
I may have injured the entire team, but at least it would have been something. But I think that again, it's really it just comes down to the bats. Like I trust our pitching staff more than I have in previous years, and I think it just comes down to can the Castellanos of the world, the Trey Turners, even Bryce in the end of that series got they just fell off. And also we had Craig Kimbrell, who I haven't said that name. I haven't thought about Craig Kimbrell until thank you JPC the fourth for making me really angry all of a sudden. But Craig Kimbrell is no longer around, thank God. So hopefully now somebody else can close out a game for us.
The green looks great on you, by the way. I like the green. Are you going to go out and get any Celtics gear while you're up there? I mean, like any championship Celtics gear, green stuff.
I think I'd rather
have in case.
I'd rather cut off my own arm than wear a Celtics shirt.
It's all right. It's going to be another tough winter for you guys.
Oh, would you stop?
Just get ready with it.
We're not talking about basketball yet. Come on now.
It's true. If you guys are looking to take your betting up a notch this football season, you got to go download Rithmm. It's free to go download it. You can go and check out The custom models we've been talking about, AI backed by data scientists, MIT grads. You guys can take a look at what they're doing for predictions. College football, NFL football, player props tonight. You can become a better by doing so. And hey, you got the Eagles tonight. You got a chance to watch the Philadelphia Love Fest on this show for the next hour plus here on this, and you can have fun with this. James, good stuff. Thank you very much. We appreciate this on a Rithmm Monday. Enjoy my home city. Don't get into
Go
fights,
Birds.
please.
Guard yourself
Go
all
Birds.
times in Boston.
Don't get into
Hands
fights.
up.
We're going to go from Boston to Philly. We go bang to through and here to our guy, Mr. John Kincade from The Fanatic, joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book. First and foremost, and I'm sorry, Will, but I have to say this. The fucking hair looks amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
I would say it is a gift from God. And you saw, look, I mean, it is wild. I'm ready to join the cast of General Hospital when they do come up with the perfect part for me.
I mean, we saw you we saw you 2 times right before you whiffled it and it was gone, and your hair is such an amazing thing, and to see it back makes me so damn happy. I'm so happy for you. Yes. Before we get to sports and the non-important stuff, how are you otherwise, health-wise? How are things?
I'm doing great. I am 9 months clear from, I've just passed my 9 months. My recovery is a little slower than I thought it would be as far as feeling back to normal. Okay. But they told me it was going to take 15 months in order to get back to where I felt before I got sick. So I've got 6 more months of that. That's a little bit tough. But other than that, I mean, it's a blessing from God. You guys, I talked to you last year during football season. It was terrible. It was terrible. But I say to everybody, everybody goes through crap in life. And when you're going through your darkest moments, like 6 months later, 9 months later, I'm heading to Monday Night Football for Nick Foles night. I'm broadcasting my radio show this morning in my hometown. So things come together if you fight, but you got to fight. You got to fight. And I don't care what you're fighting. You got to fight it. And there are blessings on the other side of the rainbow. But I think a lot of people get lost along the path saying it's just never going to end. And I wanted to quit a few times last year. Believe me, it was bad. But my wife stood by me and took great care of me. My doctors were awesome. And so I'm ready to broadcast from a parade. That's what I want to do. I want to broadcast from a parade. And I don't know which team's going to deliver it to me. But I think
the Sixers.
But I don't know about that. But we'll see. I was hanging out with Nick Nurse the other night, and they had a little thing, and Daryl Morey and the Sixers brass. They had a preseason cocktail party.
Oh,
and I said I'd like to have a postseason cocktail party one of these years. I said the preseason ones are great, but I bet the good liquor gets knocked out at the postseason one. So, but then again, I'm not passing up free food, free booze. I'm not passing it up. So preseason, in season, whatever it is, I'm ready for it. But
is that why you're going to the Eagles game tonight, for the free booze and food? Or are you going to get a win tonight? I mean, they're going to win this game?
Oh, they're going to win. Are you kidding me? It's my old hometown for 26 years of my life, Atlanta, Georgia.
Right.
So, the Falcons, they're rolling into town. I'm specifically I want to go and see Arthur Blank, the Falcons owner, who always thought of me so kindly. He went during my 20-some years in Atlanta. He was always very fascinated by the fact that one of the big voices in Atlanta sports radio was an Eagles fan and would not hide it. Ooh. And Mr. Blank's a philanthropic dude. He's a really good member of the community. But he couldn't stand me, and he would pretend that he sort of liked me, but I know he was rooting for the SEPTA bus to come and knock me out, or that there'd be a MARTA bus, or there'd be a MARTA derailment, at some point. He was hoping. So I'm anxious to see Mr. Blank tonight, and in the fourth quarter on the sideline where he doesn't belong, shedding another tear after the Eagles have beaten the Falcons tonight. I hear Kirk Cousins is very nimble today after watching that first game. He did get an endorsement though after last week. He's going to be the new Life Alert personally. They're going to. He's going to be wearing one tonight too. But so thankfully for him,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Thankfully for him, though, the Eagles' pass rush isn't very scary. It's sort of like needs a Viagra.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other endorsement they could get. So this may be a little more favorable matchup. It's going to be a tight game tonight, but I think it's going to be a fun game.
Are you thinking high scoring? Sir?
Yes.
You are.
I am, and nobody else is.
You're right about that.
In fact, I've seen the over/under number go down by 1.5 or 2.
Yeah, it has
since it opened, and part of that is people thinking the AJ Brown being out. What I think people are overcompensating on that. The Falcons' offense sucked in week 1. They scored 10 points in week 1. They will have 10 points by halftime tonight. Okay. So I'm looking at them at like a 20 number. I said 27. 27-23 today on the air.
Okay.
I'm looking at that. I would definitely bet the over. If the over/under is sitting at 46,
45 right now.
Okay,
Vegas.
That's
45.
crazy. I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, that was what to me that number is too small. I don't think that the Eagles defense is that great, and I think it's a work in progress. And one thing I know is, if history is an indicator, Kirk Cousins is thrown all over the Eagles for his entire career. He doesn't beat them, especially in prime time. They beat him senseless as far as wins and losses, but he has a way of keeping the games close and building up a lot of statistics. So I'm not in any way thinking this game's going to be some 17-13 nail biter.
It's the primetime under trend I think people are playing.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't necessarily think it's AJ Brown as much as it's that we've seen games just not be high scoring in primetime, and just in particular on Monday and Thursday nights. Sunday night's a little bit different, but Thursday and Monday nights just have been really not boring, just very low scoring games. But you mentioned Nick Foles. Obviously, as a Patriot fan, I can't stand big blank Nick.
Sure.
Love Nick.
But
yeah, I mean, don't be jealous of anatomy, Matt.
You're
special in your own way. Just because that's not your nickname.
True.
It's okay.
We
got
have
a great personality.
I'm like the guy with the monster truck. We have 6 in a small blank. But
you bet me under.
But what is tonight going to be like to welcome him back and to give a night, because he's a folk hero in Philadelphia. He won't pay for a drink for the rest of his life in Philly. So what's that going to be like tonight when they honor him?
It's going to be a zoo. It's going to absolutely be a zoo. People are really excited to see Nick Foles come home, and because he doesn't live here. So it's, for him to come back and to be a part of this night. And they're not retiring his number, by the way. I've heard twice today, once on national radio and once on a national, broadcast podcast type network, that, tonight's the night that they retired Nick Foles' jersey. They're not doing that.
Okay.
They're not retiring it. So, which, by the way, I completely agreed with.
You can't retire
Nick Foles. No,
he didn't play enough in Philly to retire his jersey.
No, Nick Foles was fantastic, and he led us to the first Super Bowl. But forget it. I mean, he is not worthy of having a jersey retired. A street named after him, or my dog named after him, which she is. That's worthy enough.
What's the dog's name?
Nikki Foles.
Nikki Foles.
Nikki. She's a girl. She's
yeah.
Nikki Foles Kincade. So that way, legally, she's,
I thought you might. Whoa,
knocking it over.
John, you
Nikki
okay?
Foles, it's the cancer.
You under
Nikki
duress?
Kincade. So she's not going to be in attendance tonight. She'll be curled up with her mom back here in Landview. So she'll be enjoying the morning.
If Arthur Blank felt that way about you and the Falcons on your previous stint down in Atlanta, how'd they feel about you with the Braves and all that talk? Because you're in the baseball town right now. The Phillies are, Kincade, I don't want to say it, but I'm getting that feeling again. Like, I want to believe that, I'm going to come see you in October.
I hope you
in person.
No.
And go to a game, because I didn't
you're going to be there.
I mean, how do we feel about the Phillies in town?
Okay, well, first off, the Braves, as much as the Falcons could not stand me, even though Thomas Dimitroff, their old general manager, him and I have stayed close after he left. Great guy. If you've never looked at Sumer Sports, by the way, Sumer. His company. It's fantastic for football fans. So check it on out. Him and I stayed close. Rich McKay always liked me too. So, but Mr. Blank just couldn't stand me. He wished pox upon me. But the Braves, we were the Braves flagship station. So the Braves got to know me pretty well. In fact, for 3 seasons, I did Braves 1 week of Braves preseason baseball.
Oh, wow.
And I was horrendous. every play-by-play guy in Major League Baseball went in and asked for a raise.
Oh, gosh.
And the great and we would just do the very first week because none of the veteran guys wanted to come down.
Right.
And I remember Don Sutton the first year, the great legendary Don Sutton, and we had been friends. And I said, Don, do you get a chance to listen today? And he goes, I did. I said, what do you think? How did I do? And he goes, Kincade, for a baseball play-by-play guy, you make a great sports talk show host.
Yeah.
I was terrible. I was quicker than a 12th grader on prom night. I was like, the ball leaves the bat, and it was as if I was like, I was like a grenade had been thrown into my lap. I didn't take the time to just go ground ball to short, picks it up, tosses over to first, 1 out. I was like, it was terrible. Yeah. I was atrocious. But the Braves, I'm telling you this, I wouldn't want to face them in the playoffs. That's
them or the Mets.
Like they're one of the teams. Well, no, I get you with the Mets. I just
saw the Mets. I mean, the Mets
are
going to be.
The
Mets are right there.
But they're 6-3 against the Mets this year, and in previous years, the Mets have been really trouble for the Phillies. Mm-hmm. Like the Phillies have gone 7-10 against the Mets, things like that.
Yep.
I don't think that's the biggest threat. Arizona bothers the hell out of me.
Yes,
and they bother me, and that's why. The having the 1 seed to me in my head is a little bit troublesome. I want them to have the bye, but I don't think I want the 1 seed because the 1 seed would right now play the winner of San Diego, Arizona. And I got to tell you, I think either one of those teams could go to the World Series.
No,
right.
Like, you know what I mean? Is that it's one of those things where the Phillies have never navigated the last 2 years, have not navigated the week off. And other than Houston, everybody else has had a problem with it. Like all the other franchises seem to have like hit a landmine the last few years. The Houston Astros have had no problem when they've had to play in the wild card, when they've had off and then face somebody coming out of the wild card series. I just wonder how the Phillies will do with that week off, but no excuses. This is a team that should be in the NLCS. And if they have home field advantage, they should go to the World Series. And they're in a great position to be able to win it all. They have the best home field advantage in the postseason, and they have the best home record in baseball. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, no excuse.
What's the reason that they're not going to do it? Because the rotation is tremendous. The lineup is great. They have the star player. It's the bullpen, is it not?
Well, you said the rotation's tremendous. Aaron Nola, man, I don't know what to expect out of Aaron Nola. He's like a 3.6 ERA. But I swear to you, it seems like it's a 7 ERA game or it's a nothing.
Right.
It's like he's right. And to me, you don't know when he's going to dial that up. And if it's a 5-game series, that could screw them big time. Like I believe Christopher Sanchez, who has been a godsend, he should be their game 2 starter. If they open a series at home, Sanchez has let up 14 earned runs in 16 starts, I believe. Something along those lines.
At home.
He's been at home. He is bad. He is worse on the road.
Right.
Aaron Nola can dial up a gem at home or on the road.
Anywhere. Yep.
So to me, if it's a 5-game series, if I'm Rob Thompson and I've had the week off and I'm setting up for it, I'm going Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, then Nola. Because Suarez supposedly hurt his back, in like May, early June. And he is, honestly, I can tell you why your back's hurting you. He's carrying like 15, 20 extra pounds that he didn't have coming out of spring training. I mean, it's as if he went right from spring training to Taco Bell. I mean, it's like the double chalupa or whatever. Oh, yeah. Because he looks substantially round. I mean, you're laughing. He was sweating dipping sauce Last outing. Last outing. I mean, that's got to change.
Would you put him in the pen? Would you take Suarez and put him in the pen?
No. What I would do is I would have it if you got me to if you're up 2-1 in the series, I would have Suarez start game 4 with a piggyback of one of the other relievers. Let Suarez get you 3-4 innings, which he's been pretty effective with.
Yes.
And then come the 5th, he's out of dipping sauce or whatever. I mean, it's done. But the thing is that they could do something like that. But when you're down 2-1 in the series, it makes it a little more different, especially a 5.
I love the righty-lefty.
So do I.
That's old school stuff, and I think that would benefit them in the 5-game series. They got to get by that 5-game series, John. That's going to be a really hard series.
Yeah, it would be. And Padres, the Padres would be hard. And also, too, I would prefer that you didn't travel in a 5-game series. You didn't travel to the West Coast for the next one. Not that they're traveling, they're not going Greyhound.
Right.
It's like, so, I mean, but it does take a wear and tear on you that I just don't think is necessary. So I'd love to see them avoid that. But look, the Phillies lineup is what I worry about. We're talking about the pitching. The Phillies bullpen right now has 4 guys who are pitching lights out. And I'm not even counting Ruiz, who has maybe been a 5th. When you've got the ability to go 9th inning Estevez, 8th inning Hoffman, 7th inning Orion Kerkering, and then you've got Matt Strom, who can give you multiple innings, can give you 4 to 6 outs on any given night as long as he's not overworked. The Phillies bullpen is fantastic. And it reminds me of Houston when they've had a chance to win World Series or they've won it, where they get to a late inning in the last 3 innings, they just throw arms at you that are all throwing gas. And none of them are specialists. None of them are guys who, he's really good against lefties. No, every single one of them can find a way to, be able to pitch to contact or pitch to righties and lefties. So
they have their role, which it's great because even when the Phillies are down, it feels like they're never out of it because they get to the bullpen down 4-2 in the 6th or the 7th, and you're like, all right, they're probably not going to score anymore. We just need 2 to tie, and then we can get the extra innings and win it. The Phillies keep winning games late, which it's been fun, hasn't it?
Well, Saturday and Sunday they actually laid down bunts in the 8th inning. In the 8th inning of games to win games. I think Philly public schools should have been closed today in honor of Rob Thompson finally understanding that. Oh, wait a minute, we're allowed. You see, he had been told when the pitch clock came in. He thought they had abolished the bunt. Is all I can figure. Is somebody had told him, Rob, no more bunting, by the way. You can't do that. I wonder with the analytics department, like the Phillies have like one of the biggest analytics departments in baseball. And honestly, they don't take a number 2 without calling upstairs and asking, is it all right? Is this the good time to do it?
Should we wait?
Yeah. Should we wait an inning? I'm not sure. It's that they're so I mean, Rob Thompson is an amazing manager of men and people and understanding 162 and keeping things calm and everything. But I wouldn't pick him in a game of Connect 4 against Matt's daughter. I think
Matt's dog is a killer.
I think she'd beat him. Absolutely. Strategy-wise, she'd beat him. Dad's taught her well.
Yeah. All right.
It would be.
Back to football for a second before we let you go.
Okay.
So the Cowboys got destroyed yesterday.
They did.
Is that New Orleans scored 91 points? The next closest is the Cardinals, 30 points behind here in the first 2 weeks of the NFL. As an Eagles guy looking at the Cowboys, was that the Cowboys defense is horrible and way overrated, or are the Saints for real?
I think the Saints are for real. I mean, they're not 40 points a game for real, but they're for real. I'm not worried about Derek Carr, though, as an Eagles fan, that Derek Carr is going to be a guy that's going to champion a team through 4 months of regular season games, lead him through the playoffs and everything like that. I just don't think he's got that in him. I think he's a good quarterback, and he's not 40 points a game good. But I thought it was very telling this morning when I woke up. I don't know what the line looked like now, but the Eagles line for the New Orleans game, the Eagles were 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah,
and tell me where that makes any sense.
But it doesn't. And depending on how this game goes tonight, that may switch.
Sure, but I mean, the Eagles win tonight by 5 or 6. Are they? I mean, they're going to be favored, what, 2 or 3 points?
It stays the
New
same.
Orleans?
Yes.
It stays the same.
That number is up based on the Eagles winning. If they don't win or, somebody gets hurt, then it will flip. But the Eagles at New Orleans, 2.5 right now.
Now,
that's the number.
By the way, I have to ask a question. I know it's your show, but when you do your community service, is that what you wear on the side of the road so the truck doesn't hit you? I'm just checking. I
got the whole thing.
Geez, you really
shots
do.
Now.
They're 2-0.
Do
They're 2-0.
They're 2-0, and
they only got 1 touchdown. 2 games, 2 wins, 1 touchdown.
Well, I think we could talk in week 5, and Justin Fields will probably have 2 touchdowns by that point.
Maybe, but they might be.
They're terrible.
Listen,
terrible.
They're 2-0.
They're terrible.
Last question from me, sir. You were in Vegas.
Yes,
at
I love
the
Vegas.
Sphere.
I was
for the NHL draft.
Yes,
the biggest UFC event was over the weekend at the Sphere. How was your trip to Vegas? And one of my misses was not being able to hook up with you because you were in and out quick.
We were very quick in and
out. You were out gambling, and you were not. You got tired.
Yeah, I brought my wife. Did dinner with my wife. I'll tell you, the NHL, in typical Gary Bettman fashion, had the Sphere, one of the greatest show places on earth, to showcase an event. They could have held that in my basement. The NHL draft. In fact, if you watched it on television or on social media, they may have, because they wasted the Sphere. The NHL absolutely wasted it. The graphics were horrendous. They didn't have enough video and stuff to take advantage of the whole thing. I could not believe it. Honestly, my daughter's a senior at Temple University, studying advertising and marketing and all that kind of stuff. I could have given her a week's notice, and she could have made it look 10 times better than the NHL did. They should be ashamed of themselves, because the Sphere itself was gorgeous. And you know how much I love Vegas. And I just, to have that as an asset, I can only imagine what they're going to do with that place in the future, because it's fantastic. By the way, some of the people working that place, I got to meet, some of the people working that event. They were fantastic. It was just, it's what I love. I love Las Vegas. It's my happy place, as you know. And maybe I'll roll back in after the Eagles and Phillies both win championships. Who knows? You
should come for the Flyers game when they play Vegas.
Well, we are the Flyers station, but I don't know is that we have, believe me, my boss is very big on certain times of year. We do not vacation. And I agree. And by the way, I agree with that.
It's a work trip. I'll call them and tell them.
I never vacation in the fall book. So anytime, once Labor Day begins, I'm until Christmas time comes, I'm not off. And then I try not to ever in the spring, I try not to ever vacation in there either, because those are the 2 books we got to care about, especially in sports radio. And then in the summertime, I'm like George Hamilton. I'm on the beach. Kidding me?
Goodbye. Kincade, you're the best. Thank you.
You guys are great.
You look tremendous. Thank you for the time.
Great.
We'll talk soon. Enjoy the game tonight.
Have fun tonight.
Take care. Eagles win.
The one and only John Kincade joining us from the Fanatic here in.
Can you believe how good his hair is?
Yeah,
that happened
tremendous.
to my dad after he had to go through the chemo and stuff. I kept run my finger through his hair. I was like, it got better.
Yeah.
It was good before.
Right.
It got better.
It got better. It looks great. I mean,
it looks great. He looks great, man. I love that guy. We met him at our first Super Bowl. And, he showed up, and we just, you guys knew each other, but he sat down and talked to us for a while, and we've made a real relationship with him. I'm so happy, like you said.
Yeah, because he was a guy in the South when I was in the South. So we both were Northerners working in the South. So we both had the ability to antagonize Southerners and get them all pissed off at us. So we would DM back and forth, and we would laugh because he would get in some big fight with somebody, and I'd get in some big fight with somebody, and we go back and forth, and we've had numerous conversations about radio and life, and it was just it's a relationship that I've really appreciated, and the fact that he has now kicked the ass of cancer 3 times is amazing, and we hope that everything continues to be great and going on. So really good stuff with him. So that's a ton of fun to get in with him and talk to him on the show. I can't wait to see him again whenever we get a chance to hang out with him. All right, what happened this weekend? More than half of the Circuit Survivor contest entries are gone. 2 weeks in. Gone. See you later. Thousands of dollars thrown down here on this. Ravens gone, Lions gone, Jaguars gone, Cowboys gone, Colts gone. And we've got a number here with the Eagles, Dave, of 785 tonight riding.
Yeah.
If you were one of those people with the Eagles tonight, how worried are you about what is going on after the Ravens go down and the top pick for the second straight week is bye-bye?
Well, you have to be worried. I mean, if you had a favorite at all this weekend, you have to be worried if you have the Eagles tonight. I think there's probably some hesitation in even betting the Eagles because of that. Does it complete the wrap around to Monday, the Sunday beatdown that favorites took? I don't know. I this is one of those ones where, like, if you use the Eagles, all right, this early in a intra-conference home game on a primetime game, I don't think he's going to be comfortable. Oh, look at this.
We have someone with the Eagles, one of the 75.
Boy, Matt J. 2020 says, I have Eagles and feel sick. Wow. Well, give them something to vote on right now. I mean, who wins this game? Eagles or Falcons? Just money line, straight up. We won't even bother with the spread.
You want to poll or just put them in?
Yeah, no, just do a poll real fast. Have them vote
Okay.
while they're here watching. Got a real nice crowd. Again, everybody shuffles in now at the beginning of the show. If you're catching up on the rewind, take a vote. I don't know. This. I feel like the line 5. You know how I feel about 5. I mean, it's just that kind of random number, not random, but the book puts it up there to see what anybody will do with it. So any of the 5.5s, click refresh.
It just feels. This just feels.
Oh, it's fine.
Look, 6 underdogs won outright on Sunday. Texans, Chiefs, and the Seahawks, they won, but they didn't cover. It was an underdog day. And the Eagles at home, Nick Foles, that event, everything else, it just, man alive. Yes, Joe TP, you're talking about the sports books are building new wings based on the week 2 wins every year. It's overreaction week 2. I don't know. The Falcons need it. And we saw the Raiders look like ass in week 1. They go on the road. They beat the Ravens. We saw teams that we thought were going to be really strong struggle. The Cowboys, we thought they were going to bounce back. Their defense looked horrendous. They gave up over 40 points to the Saints. The game was over at halftime. It
was over in the first quarter.
Destroyed. I mean, it's remarkable
Derek
to watch.
Carr looked great.
He did. I mean, Kamara scored 4 touchdowns for Alvin Kamara? I mean, it's ridiculous.
I think 3 or 4. I don't know.
I mean, it's
he
Cardinals
long pass. He had so much time to throw, and it reminded me of when he was here.
Yeah,
and he had an offensive line and time to throw. He can make the throws, and you saw that throughout the league. Quarterbacks didn't have any time to throw. They kept getting hit, turn the ball over. Again, young quarterbacks making young guy mistakes. Speaking of young guys, Bryce Young has been benched. Andy Dalton starting for the Panthers. How about that? That didn't take long.
Will Levis is next. So
they don't have do they have a veteran there option?
Not really, but Brian Callahan, you can't show up your starting quarterback the way that he did. You can't yell, what the F are you doing at the guy?
It's a fair question.
It's a fair question. It is, but 2 weeks in a row, what was Will Levis doing? I don't know, but I think he's next to get benched. If he has another bad week, I think Will Levis will be next. So regardless of first round pick, regardless of where you were selected, first round, second round, starting quarterback, whatever, horrible play is horrible play. But it wasn't just the survivor that took a beating. The public got destroyed in circa millions because we've got another number where we're looking at it going like, okay, this is bad. 1 in 9 ATS through 2 weeks for the top 5 consensus. What does this tell you?
That everybody picks the same games. The most popular games, I mean, they're the most fun to pick, and especially if you're going to watch them. But they're the best numbers. Like they're the ones where the market has, by the time, sometimes you get, an offline or maybe in the contest, but those are the hardest games to pick. I mean, if you'd have just picked the Steelers, you'd have been fine. But who wants to pick the Steelers in Denver game? Because that was boring and it's an under and it's this, but there wasn't 1 second, not one, of that game where the Steelers were not the right side of that game.
True.
And I don't know, you you gotta just we say it when we sign people up for the Survivor. Just get to October. Same thing, kind of betting wise. Like the books, you get them quick and early in college, in Saturdays, in September. Sundays is a crapshoot. And now I'm telling you, with the referees and whatever the concentration thing is, as far as what they're calling,
right?
They're all working it out. And now nobody's working it out in the preseason. The first 2 weeks are so not, I mean, in general, don't you think it's more sloppy now? There's a lot of like really mistakes made on a more wide ranging basis across the league, even the good teams.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I used the word sloppy as much as I would use the word just not on the same page. Like we've seen so many offenses really struggle and not play up to what we thought they were going to be able to do. And defensive, I mean, look, it was a scoregami yesterday, 44-19 for Dallas and the Saints. That's another scoregami. So that's now 1,086 unique scores in the history of the NFL. 44-19 is a weird one, but
is there one of these every week?
No, there's not. That's why it's normally like plus 400, plus 500 to bet it. But it's week 1, week 2, we've had back-to-back weeks of scoregamis.
Well, we're gonna have to give we'll give somebody this job. I mean, Josie Myers is gonna be done with the baseball at the end of the season here, but we need a scoregami update. Every time one happens, tag us in the show, and we'll put you on the screen to remind us. Whoever wants to volunteer to do that, please do that. Like Sean's watching the show every day. Somebody do it and post it on the Twitter, because I'm keeping track of the White Sox specifically because of what Josie Myers is doing.
115 losses starting today for them. So
the scoregami thing is fascinating to me. Feels 44. Like there's way more. Like that's 2 weeks in a row we had one
of weird, unique, strange deals. New Orleans has scored 91 points in 2 weeks. The Cardinals are second with 69. A massive difference. Do you buy the Saints? Kincade said no.
I mean, I buy the Saints as being a very viable option to win that division. I wouldn't have said that before the season. But the way the offense is running, the way the offensive line kept everybody away from Carr, I was like, man, there's a guy who may have been, like Baker, kind of just dismissed and told that, we don't want you here no more. You may have to go. And I mean, Baker Mayfield made a couple stops in between, kind of growing up and maturing and really owning it.
It's Dennis Allen. Like,
what about it?
I can't. That's my problem with it. It's Dennis Allen. I can't buy it yet. I mean, Derek Carr and Dennis Allen. I can't. Like, if you're asking me, are they for real? The answer is no. For me, no. I'm not. They're not a team I'm considering to actually be at home, having a home opportunity to play in their home state, in their home city, in their home building for the Super Bowl. No.
So you don't think they can win a division?
I don't think that they're a legitimate contender in the NFC. No, I do not.
Well, I mean, if they win their division, they get a home playoff game.
True. And that's a great place to play a playoff game. That's a rocking atmosphere.
Right.
That's a tough place to go and do it. But I'm not buying it. I just can't. It's Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. Until further notice, my answer is no. It's 2 weeks. It's a good start. Let's talk in December.
Put it in the chat. Type it, your answer. Who's going to win the NFC South?
My God, 75%, by the way, on the Eagles tonight.
I was going to leave that up running for a little bit.
Oh,
that makes sense. I mean, they're the favorite. There's a lot of people bet the favorites. That's, our friends, in the media tweet the percentages and stuff. And I laugh every week in the NFL. Yeah. There's not one dog on the list. And the one dog there was that made the list 8th or 9th yesterday for like the most percentage tickets, whatever, was the Rams.
Which I was on.
Oh, that was ugly.
Ugly. Touchdown. They're still scoring.
Cardinals.
They're still scoring.
Cardinals are second with 69. Are they for real?
No, but they look a hell of a lot better than they had last year. I mean, they finally used Marvin Harrison Jr. He was unstoppable yesterday. Like, he can win Rookie of the Year. Like, that's when he plays like that. Like, good luck. Kyler played great. Rams defense couldn't do anything. Rams offense mean, Cooper Kupp's now in a walking boot, lost Puka Nacua. I wasn't high on the Rams. Everyone coming out and said the Rams are, all the pros, look out for the Rams, look out for the Rams. And I was like, really? I just took a 10-1. Sean McVay was 10-1 going into that game against the Cardinals over the last 5 years. So I was like, okay, until further notice, I'm betting McVay to see because he owns that team.
Right.
Well, not so much anymore. That was a gigantic beatdown. That was a lot of cathartic, get out all those losses on one day type of performance by the Cardinals. Cincy is now 1-11 straight up in week 1 and week 2 under Zach Taylor. Mark that down for next year, boys and girls. Bengals did cover the 6.5, 5.5 point spread, depending on what you got there in the 1.2625 loss to Kansas City. Was it pass interference?
Oh, yeah. It was. I mean, when you watch on the replay, you knew. I thought, right, because of the way the angle of the game was on the TV, when that flag came in, it felt like 2 seconds late. Threw it from 20 yards away.
Right.
He was far away. So, like, when you saw the other angle, you're like, oh, he was throwing it. As soon as he hit him early. Yeah. That was the definition of it. There were some other games that.
Well, the Raiders game and the Ravens game was a complete clown show. That was not pass interference. Devontae Adams could have been called for offensive pass interference, changed the entire complexion of that football game. They shouldn't have tied the game with that touchdown. They shouldn't have gotten the ball on the 2-yard line with the first and goal. It should have been a field goal attempt coming for the Raiders, and they probably lose the game, and the Ravens may have covered on top of that. So that one flag knocked out 2,300 entries in the Circa Survivor contest. Shows you how the Zebras can affect things.
I tweeted yesterday. It was 12:45 in the afternoon here, which is 3:45 Eastern. There were 10 games, by the way. 10 games all at once. Is that too many?
It was a lot. I'll admit it was a lot. I had 4 games on one screen. I had 4 games on my computer, and I had another one on my phone. It was a lot.
It was a lot. Of those 10, 2 blowouts. All right. There were 2 that were done watching a long time ago. The Saints and the Cowboys, and the Chargers were destroying the Panthers. But the other 7 games were either tied or within 1 score. So whatever's happening, it's happening. Now, for why it's happening, various reasons. The one takeaway that I know, I don't know if other people will agree or disagree. Doesn't really matter to me. The kickoff thing sucks. I don't know what it, I mean, I know what it's supposed to accomplish, but just give them the ball in the 25 after a touchdown. Don't even kick it. Line up, landing zone, graphic, all that stuff. Stop.
Hey, Lock Wagers, don't take my bets and come here and percussive of your own. What are you doing?
Come
on now. He's taking that's my bet. It's coming in here, don't come in. Lock Wagers. Now I know my bet's going to lose. Lock Wagers. I'm kidding.
Locke is here in town. I got to try to meet up with Locke. He sent me a message. I got your DM. I'm going to get to you today. So we'll figure that out.
I'm on the same side as you. It may be bad for you. I'm on the same bet. Kelsey's streak of 3 or more catches per game ended. 114 games with 3 or more catches. They're kind of phasing him out. It's really wild to watch.
I think the game plan is he don't beat you.
Or the game plan is to use the speed, and that ain't Kelsey.
Right now.
It's Rice and Worthy. It ain't Travis.
Yes and no. I think there will be a time, like Pacheco's out now 6 weeks. He hurt his leg. He might be out longer. It was a terrible. I don't know.
They'll get Clyde Edwards-Helaire back. They'll get him
That's
back.
fine.
So,
I heard Orlovsky this morning talking about how their run scheme with their offensive line being as healthy and as big and physically strong as it is, it won't hurt them as much not having Pacheco because they have other guys that can do it.
Right.
If they take Kelsey off of that field, like if he got hurt or something, that would still affect their offense. Him being out there, not being impactful every game is still a big part of the reason why that offense works.
I still think this is last year playing football.
Did you see the commercial when him feeding his brother the cereal?
No.
Oh man, it was weird.
Yeah, I
They're
don't
doing every commercial.
I
in the
think
world.
that's it. I think this is it. I think this is going to be the last year. I think him and Taylor will get married. I think Taylor's going to disappear when she's done in December. Her tour ends. I think they both disappear. I think they both are going to be gone from the limelight and be gone. So that's my prediction for them after. And I was wrong. I called it a fake relationship in the beginning. Now it could be dead wrong. It may actually have been a fake relationship. I don't know. But I think she's getting ready to disappear. And I think he's getting ready to disappear as well because he does not need the money. Like he's got a huge contract. Him and his brother can go ahead and do that podcast for the next 20 years and do the New Heights podcast. And I think Jason's everywhere doing it every commercial on Sunday. Overexposure just a little bit on Jason Kelce. Like, hold on.
They're everywhere.
It's a lot of him.
When you watched all the games, like at the same time, you're like, whoo, same commercials on every game. Mark Schilling, he should have retired this year.
Some people thought so. Win a championship, win back-to-back, and walk. But he's coming back for a three-peat, but, that's what he's hoping for is a three-peat. But, Kelce, I'll agree, AOWN, he is doing things that aren't. He's a tight end. He has to block, kind of. He's not really a blocking tight end. He does things a little bit in the pass protection, in the blocking game, run block. He's not Gronk. So that's why I've always said Gronk's a better tight end than Kelce, because Gronk mauled people and he actually helped the Patriots run the football consistently and then go and catch 40-yard passes and touchdowns. But I think in terms of just the wear and tear, your girlfriend's a billionaire, legitimately billionaire. You'll never need money for the rest of your life, like ever. You get whatever you want, whenever you want it, however you want it. You really want to get your head kicked in every game?
I like playing football, man.
I know, but you want to put your brain, your body, everything on the line like that. Like you start to make business decisions.
I don't know. It seems like he is. Oh, yeah. AOWN just responded with he's getting bracketed and doubled all the time, and it's opening up other guys. He is right now, and I think that's fine. Like they keep winning,
right?
So that's the whole goal.
Their margins are. I mean, Mahomes threw for nothing yesterday. I mean, their margin, they're winning, but they're winning like, this is why they're not going to go. I mean, I said it last year and they won it, but I still think they're not three-peating. Like it's too difficult in the NFL. You're seeing it. It's just the margin is so thin at the moment. They'll win the division. They'll have home playoff games. Who's going into Arrowhead and winning? I don't know. Maybe it's the Bills time. Maybe it's the Bengals time. Maybe it's somebody else. Or in the Super Bowl, somebody beats them in New Orleans. But this is why it's so hard to even go back to back, let alone 3 in a row, that your margin, the league catches up to you. You're the target. You're the one everyone's chasing. So it's hard. It's hard to win in the NFL. It's hard to win a lot in the NFL. It's also hard to lose games like this. I mean, the Giants made history yesterday. They're the second team ever to score 3 touchdowns, give up no touchdowns, and lose the game.
That doesn't even.
Who's worse, New York or Carolina? Giants or Carolina?
Who's worse? Carolina.
I agree. The worst team in football. Outscored by 60 in 2 weeks.
And benched the number 1 pick overall in the draft today.
Bryce Young is now benched.
Going, all right, we can't let him keep going out there and doing
Carolina.
this.
Carolina, easy.
I want to shout out SoCal because text like the guys that got the number and the DMs and stuff, crazy. It's like I don't know what time it was, 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock last night, and this comes up with the Giants thing, and I send him a text. He's like one of our fact check guys. Going as far back as 2001, there's never been a game where a team has scored 3 touchdowns and not one before today. So the Giants made history. It's
second team ever, according to Elias.
Oh, second team ever. Okay, so it says in games where the other team scored 1 or 2 touchdowns and lost to a team that scored 0 touchdowns. That's only happened 34 times. That's only happened 34 times.
It's crazy
Their kicker
too.
Got hurt, so
Right.
that was that. They couldn't kick extra points, so they ended on 18. And the Washington guys kicked 7 field goals to win. Now the Steelers kicked 6 field goals to win against Atlanta. Yesterday, there were 3 field goals total in the game.
Chris Boswell, by the way, has more points than the Giants do.
Boy, that's a humble pill to swallow if you're a Giants fan right now. I didn't even have to say it. P-Roll said it for me.
Chris Boswell scored 25 points this season. The Giants have 24 points this season.
How's that sound, Co-Pizzle? Brandon?
Ouch.
Smalls?
Ouch.
Tommy Lorenzo, Giant fan? Huh?
Ouch.
That's ugly.
I mean, ouch.
I mean,
Giants
what are
are
they
so
doing?
Giants are awful. Bo Nix didn't play well. Rookie quarterbacks didn't play well yesterday. Not that big of a shock. I don't think Caleb played all that awful last night. I just thought he looked like a rookie at times. The offensive line's doing him no favors. He got punished in that game last night against the Texans, but he kept on getting up. So if nothing less, you learn the kid's tough as hell.
100%. What I learned about Denver is they're in for a long season,
Yeah.
which we all thought. Like they got a lot of things to navigate, and he's got to run for his life. Whoever plays the Steelers is going to have trouble, period.
Yep.
As long as they're healthy, they're going to get a pass rush, and they're going to
Yep.
it's old school defense. They're winning with don't turn the ball over, and these people just won't stop calling me. We'll find out why. Yeah, the Steelers defense is doing it, but the Bears,
They're not a 10-win team, though.
they're not.
They're not a 10-win team, but they're going to be fun to watch. They've got some pieces.
There's a lot of questions about him being untouched and playing that, backyard style football at USC in the Pac-12, which again, I still can't believe there's no Pac-12, but he ran around, was able to improvise and do a lot of things. Now he was standing back there yesterday, a sitting duck. Got blasted. Apparently, I heard this morning, the most hits that a quarterback took yesterday, 23 times he was hit. That led the league. 36 pressures on 37 dropbacks. He got hit 23 times.
Kept on getting up.
He kept on getting up. I was impressed. I kept turning to Jess, and I was like, I don't know how he keeps getting up.
Youth. It's great to be young.
It is great to be young.
An older quarterback is broken.
If they got a offensive line to just protect one side.
Yeah, it's impressive.
How do you feel, Bears fans? How do you feel today?
So, according to Steve Palazzolo, who's a phenomenal stats guy, he just tweeted this out, and thanks for CW to pointing this out. In 2022, we had 105 passing touchdowns through 2 weeks. In 2023, we had 86 passing touchdowns through 2 weeks.
Okay.
Pending tonight's Monday Night Football game, there have been 66 passing touchdowns in the NFL through 2 weeks.
Almost half from 2 years ago?
Tom Brady was right.
Over half?
Tom Brady's right.
They're going to have to extend the end zone.
Quarterback play sucks.
Red zone defense is impossible. You cannot throw the ball. You cannot throw the ball in the end zone.
You think they're going to extend the end zone?
No, I think that's what I don't think they're going to do it, but they need to make the end zone bigger like the Canadian Football League. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. They need to they need to be a little bit less on the penalties here on the offense when it comes to what we're doing blocking wise. I mean, it's right now, there are false starts all over the place. There are, illegal formations all over the place. Like you got to get football. They got to play better football. Like, period. You got to play better football. Stop playing rookies. Stop playing these quarterbacks so fast.
They have to. The pressure, you have to build a team around a rookie quarterback contract so you can build everywhere else and get lucky with the guy that's going to make it work. But the other thing that's become part of the game is get close and get an interference call in the end zone and put the ball on the one and then run it in.
Yeah.
You're seeing rushing touchdowns
way up
because they're literally getting the ball on a 1 yard line.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, true.
Again, it's not a bitch and whine and complain about the officials, but buddy John Murray, has been calling it ref ball for a long time.
Raiders game was. That's how the Raiders won, thanks to ref ball. 100%. I would agree on that.
The Steelers and the Broncos game was so many flags. I mean, how do you, and even Houston last night, would they have 12 penalties, 13 penalties?
And Patriot fans are furious with the referees for the calls that they missed in the game against Seattle. Patriot fans are fired up, saying that, the referees were entirely not, either inconsistent or one-sided all on Seattle. And they had, there are some pretty obvious, Patriot fans are taking different pass interference penalties that weren't called and talking about different holding calls that weren't called that went against the Patriots. But I think personally, after watching every single snap of that game, that was Gerard Mayo's fault. I think that was a huge learning curve by the head coach, essentially turtling in the second half, because the pass rush for Seattle was so ferocious and the offensive line for the Patriots couldn't stop them, that they were petrified. They threw for 117 yards in the first half. They threw for like 40 in the second half because they wanted to run the ball, and Seattle knew that. So the Patriots just stopped scoring, and they were trying to hang on for dear life, and they lost the game 23-20 because they couldn't. In overtime, I was ferociously mad because you're supposed to suck. You win the coin toss. Go throw a trick play. Go do something crazy. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. You're in overtime. You're at home. You won the coin flip. You can't give the ball back. You can't do that. Game's over. Everyone knows this. Punt the ball away, game over. It's exactly what happened. Seattle goes down, kicks the field goal, game over.
See, I would, in that situation, I think I would kick them the ball.
What?
Win the toss, kick them the ball, and say, defense, go get us the ball. Because then all we have to do is get a field goal.
I get your point, but they score a touchdown, the game's over. So
that's fine. But I put it on the defense at that point because the offense obviously couldn't do a thing. And it looked like Jacoby Brissett was going to need a walker. Every time he went down, it looked like it was the last time he was going to get, go
He was
down.
writhing in pain every time.
Every time. He kept getting shots, and he looked like, I was like, I was waiting for your text. Drake May era begins. Like I
kept on waiting because me too. Because he grabbed his shoulder, he grabbed his side. I thought he broke a rib. I was like, this guy's gonna be done. Like, when does Drake? I kept on waiting for that image of the backup quarterback throwing and getting warmed up. I was like, where's that shot from CBS that they're getting Drake May ready to play? And they never did. It was Brissett just kept on getting hit. It was much like what happened with Caleb Williams. Like, he just kept on getting hit. He kept on getting up, and that earns a ton of respect in that locker room. Gerard Mayo loves the guy. The Patriots drafted him and have him come back. And look, they're 1-1, and they lost in overtime. Like, if that's how the year goes, I think Patriot fans are going to be ecstatic because they're not going anywhere. But give entertaining football games, make it fun. Sure, losing sucks, but you're going to learn. The coach is going to learn. Things are going to get better, and then get a top 5 pick next year and rebuild the offensive line, because their offensive line's a garbage heap at the moment. So you got to find a way to do that. They can run block, but they can't do much else. Pass blocking is definitely a problem for them, and every team's going to blitz the hell out of the Patriots. Fun game, but
it
wild.
made one of the looks. I had it on, and I was just. I really wanted the under to happen. I had under 39, and I was like, all right.
Patriots won the game. The under was hitting.
It went from having no shot early to having a shot after a very pedestrian third quarter. And I was like, okay, we're live. This might actually get there.
Right.
And then when they missed the field goal.
It was bad.
Yeah,
that block kick was the difference, really. Yeah, that stunk. Can't miss field goals. That sucked.
No.
To college football we go. New top 25, new number 1 team. The Texas Longhorns, everybody can say it now. Texas is officially back. They got to the top spot. Georgia 2, Ohio State 3, Alabama 4, Ole Miss rounds out your top 5. Your Penn State Nittany Lions come in at number 10 here on this. How are you feeling about Penn State, Mr. Nittany Lion? Because your team is in the top 10 now.
They're 49-point favorites, and the total's 54.5. I'll be fine. It's like a bye week this week. Not even there's so many other things now. I think learning about teams and watching games. Listen, I don't know who needs to hear it, but Florida State and Florida are irrelevant. It's it. It's done.
Yeah, they're done. I knew Florida was going to be relevant. I knew Napier in Florida I saw coming. I actually thought Mike Norvell was going to survive this. I thought they would be able to use DJU in a way to run and use the athletes. I never thought their offensive line was going to be this bad, and I didn't think the defensive line for Florida State would be this bad. I mean, they can't stop anybody. I mean, Memphis Boston College, anybody. They can't stop anyone. Florida State, Mike Norvell is gone. Billy Napier is gone. Just a matter of time as to when they get fired. Ticking clock on both of them.
CBW tagged us on so many things. And again, thank you, CBW, one, for being here, but doing that, it just makes our lives so much easier. It gives us all the content we need. I've never cashed an easier win total bet than Florida State under 9.5 AOWN. Congratulations. They are the first team to clinch their season win bet after three games. That never happens, but it did, and they lost again. They got a couple more games too where they're going to lose. I mean, they're going to
100%. Their schedule is brutal. I don't know where they're going to win. The schedule is absolutely brutal. It is. The Memphis game was going to be it. You're wearing the UNLV hat. First time in school history, they are ranked in the coaches poll. UNLV, after their win at Kansas, they've won at Houston. They've won at Kansas. They've won at home against Utah Tech. They got Fresno. They got Syracuse. And it's not insane, Dave. Them in Northern Illinois right now are teams that have marquee Power 5 resume wins that could get them into the playoffs.
Do you still have the fight song in the queue?
Do I still have the fight song in the queue? There you go.
Cut it off perfectly, too. That was good. I took a shot that you might have it. I didn't know. Yep. Again, we're doing a show live every day at the ish time, and I just took a shot there. I'm very
straight,
excited.
Benny. Over 7 wins. We're looking good.
Pretty good.
That play looks
good. Yeah,
3-0.
This is
come from behind on the road.
Arrigo came on Friday. They go back and watch the show, listen to the show. Joe was pretty confident, and Joe doesn't really gamble. But Joe was like, they're going to win. There's something going on. They won a tight game again. Well, the first game they won on the road wasn't tight. That game was a tight game. Brandon Walton, you're right. UNLV on fire. We got a team in college football here in town that we can get that Saturday feeling, or we're going to have Friday feelings because the games are on Friday. Where I'm going. I'm going to the games. I went last year with Kelsey twice.
I mean, they're
I'm going to the games. I can't wait.
So their schedule is the following. Okay. They play Fresno coming up after they're on a bye this weekend. Right. They don't play this week. Then they go then Fresno comes Saturday here to UNLV. Then Syracuse comes here to UNLV. Then they play at
Friday night, I think.
Friday night. Yep. On October the 4th. Then they play Utah State on the road, UNLV on the road, and Boise comes here.
UNLV is UNLV. What do you mean?
Sorry, Oregon State on the road. Sorry. Ooh. They play Oregon State on the road, and then they play Boise State at home. That 5-game stretch, Fresno, Syracuse, Utah State, Oregon State, and Boise State, if they make it through that unscathed, I'll tell you, they're making the playoffs. They'll win the Mountain West, and they're making the playoffs. I don't know if they can go through that gauntlet and go and have 0 losses. That would be unbelievable if they were able to do that. They can lose Syracuse easily. Oregon State could get them, although Oregon State got destroyed by Oregon over the weekend.
Yeah, they did.
The game was never close.
No shame in that. Oregon's good.
They got their mojo back, but oh boy, it's fun here. Let's go UNLV. Should be a lot of fun. UFC 306. We touched on it a little bit in one of the interviews talking with John Kincade, but visually one of the most incredible sporting events to ever take place. Dana White spent $20 million to get the videos and the intros and everything that was designed for the Sphere, which looked unbelievable in 4K. I can only imagine what it looked like in person in 16K.
Oh,
main card though, my goodness, 5 fights, all go the distance. Holy late night on Saturday night.
That was a late night. I mean, I had what will end up being one of my favorite things about today. At the end of the show, Kendall had a party that lasted 8 hours, and she wanted to extend this stay and not be picked up until midnight.
Wow.
And I said, all right, well, the fights are on. That was my out. I'm watching the fights. I got to still say close to midnight. Still watching the post-fight stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was visually one of the most unique experiences that I've ever seen for anything like that. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to have the fights. And they got me early in that prelims. Like there was some fights, some really good fights. And then that woman's fight where
Shevchenko. Yep.
Well, no, not that. That was the
Oh,
title.
the
prelim.
Prelim. Yeah. The headliner prelim fight.
Oh, I was like, wow, I don't even know what to say. I was, but how do you repeat this?
Oh, easily.
So you're just going to have UFC at the Sphere from now on and not anywhere else?
Oh, no, I think you do it once.
When they're doing that big event in New York in November.
Yeah, I think you do the Sphere every couple of years. I don't think you do it consistently. Dana White said it's a one and done. He said, I'm not doing it again. So everyone is saying, wait a minute, you're never doing it again? And he said, going into it, he goes, it's one and done. This is a one-time thing. I'm never doing this again. I said, the gate was 22 million. He spent 20 on the visuals. So like, he's like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not spending that type of money to do it. But he wanted to own Mexican Independence Weekend here in Vegas. That has been a staple for Canelo Alvarez for almost a decade. I mean, he has put a flag down in every single Mexican Independence Weekend in September. It's been a Canelo fight, and he had a Canelo fight. It was a boring Canelo fight, but he had a fight. It sold out, but it didn't do anywhere near what the Sphere did for attention, eyeballs, gate. Everything was all UFC on Saturday night. Rightfully so.
So is it bad that they all went to the card?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's boring. Like Dana even said, he told a story in the post game that during COVID, their audience, their overall fan base grew by 69% during COVID. And he said, I hope for anybody who tuned in to the Sphere event because they were curious, stopped watching before the co-main and main event because they were really boring.
Oh,
so he was not happy with the fights. He was mad. Merab's boring. I mean, the O'Malley fight was boring. Shevchenko just basically wrestled the entire time, and she won the title on the mat, just out wrestling and just being physically stronger. So
is that a problem?
It's not a problem, but it's sort of like watching, like the Pistons play basketball in the 90s. Like you can be really like defensively, you can be tremendous. It's just not exciting. It's just not an exciting. Fans want finishes. Fans want, the fights to end, not 25 minutes.
The goal is to win.
It is to win, but 2 fights, 25 minutes in length, going all 5 rounds for title fights. It's not what you expect when you're watching a UFC event.
Listen,
you expect to finish it
in a title fight, and you can go 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's a pretty good title fight.
It is. Yeah, it is. But you're expecting it to go quicker.
Fair enough. But if you build up the stamina, you can do 25 minutes in a title fight, sweating, working, all of that. Woo, baby. That's a lot of work.
On to it. So we're just going to change that topic. Otani is in a bit of a slump. Intentionally walked. Might need a slump buster, spring of stamina. Leads to a 7-run inning for the Dodgers yesterday as they get a big win. But everyone keeps on talking about this. It's not 50 for 50 for Otani because that's sort of like a given that he's going to get there. 50 home runs, 50 steals. It's should he pitch in the playoffs? Because Dave Roberts said unlikely, but not impossible, that Shohei pitches in the postseason. Yeah. Would you throw him?
Oh, if he's available? Oh, I would love nothing more to say, hey, big guy, go warm up.
Oh, my.
You're going to pitch the 9th.
Only if it's a closeout to win the World Series would I do it.
Nah, bro. Do it Dodger Stadium in the first series to close out the Brewers. It's 4-1. Hey, big guy down there.
What if he gets hurt? Why do it? What's the risk? I mean, what's the point of the risk? Why do that? Why risk getting
see if he can?
Why? You have him all next year. Why? You can win it all without him right now. You don't need to do
this. You can. Oh.
No, without him pitching, I mean, not hitting. You can win it all without him pitching.
I know, but like if he's available and wants to pitch and can't pitch physically, not in danger of hurting himself.
What if he is?
You only get so many shots to win this thing.
Oh my gosh. I would never. It's
I'm just telling you, I was in a stadium.
Okay.
In 2001, when Randy Johnson walked to the bullpen, and the standing ovation was, I still get goosebumps thinking about it now.
Yeah, because you believe everyone thought, okay, we won. Here comes the big unit. Game over.
That's what I'm talking about.
Not debating it. I would have him close the World Series out. You need it. You're in a 3-2 game and a tight game, and in game 7, you got to get the last 3 outs. Give him the ball. I'm good with it.
There's a chance that this could happen. I would do it in the last week of the season when it didn't matter. Say, hey, you want to try it? Go close this game. See what happens. And get it in everybody's head that, if we ain't winning by the 7th, they're going to hand the ball to that other guy, and they're handing the ball to the big guy in the 9th. We're in big trouble. No, I don't know.
Imagine if he's on the mound and they win the World Series and he's pitched like 8-9 innings on top of what he's done in the regular season, on top of what he can do in the World Series or the playoffs. You kidding me?
Yeah, it's not fair.
Not
It's
fair.
not fair. Don't get me wrong. It's not fair. But, I mean, it'll give us Shohei Otani watch. We'll be playing this stinger forever. I mean, we get a whole nother month.
Year out of it.
Because we got stingers that are in the board that, they don't always get played, but the people like them.
Yeah.
Like,
no. No.
Please push the button.
No.
Push it. Do it. People love that. I know you can't control the volume. That's why you got to play it.
No, that's not why. It's just people it's out of place. It's just
out of place.
To the business side of the show here, our friends at Earnings and More reporting that ESPN Bet is failing to gain ground on the market leaders, and it's starting to become a problem for the folks at the top. They thought that September, October was going to be the go time for ESPN Bet. FanDuel and DraftKings have, quote, hit the accelerator, and it's not first-time deposits, credit card and debit card transactions, not good for ESPN Bet. They have not improved its position. In fact, the market share is, quote, slightly down. On top of this, look at downloads in the first week from the NFL, which is first 2 weeks of the NFL, arguably the 2 biggest weeks of betting in the calendar year 2024. 69,000 downloads for ESPN Bet compared to FanDuel at 426,000 or DraftKings at 324,000. If you're sitting there at Penn, how concerned are you with these numbers?
They haven't been concerned from the beginning. They didn't listen to anybody, and they went and did all this stuff, and they didn't even know what the product was that they had, and they were just going to take it and flip it and say, well, it says ESPN Bet on it. People will come. People will most definitely come, Ray. People will most definitely come. No, they're not coming. You have to have it work, number one.
Mm-hmm.
2, you have to know what you're up against if you're going to make it work. If you don't know that the Burger King and McDonald's, FanDuel and DraftKings got some slick stuff, and it works almost all the time.
Right.
You ain't them, you ain't got a shot. You have to understand, get in your lane. We got people, again, my favorite thing about today is, we'll talk about people that know their lane and are driving their car right down their lane like this, going, we're coming. We're fine. That's a whole nother freeway over there. We're not there yet. We know what we want. We know what we are.
Mm-hmm.
ESPN Bet trying to be something they're not.
And fighting a machine gun fight with a butter knife. I mean, it's not the same. The interface is not the same. The markets are not the same. The prices are not the same. And people are getting frustrated and people are getting angry. And they're going, why am I even considering using this? You're shoving it down my throat. Every time I watch something on ESPN, it's all I'm hearing. It's all I'm seeing. And yet when I go to use it, it's not the same experience as when I go to a different sports book. And that experience is really causing people to say, it's not worth it. It's not good. Could you ask your buddies at the bar, what do you bet with? What do you like? Who do you like? I mean, look at the chat right now. It's garbage. It's crap. Don't use it. They don't open up markets. They don't have props. Like, there is such a negative spin around that sports book right now. I don't know how they pull out of the nosedive.
I mean, we got a lot of people in the chat giving their own testimonial experience.
It's not good.
WV Punch Drunk One said their customer service is really bad with multiple L's. I saw Wissay a little bit earlier up in the chat, said ESPN didn't have good numbers / prices this weekend.
That's problematic.
It's weird too. And again, we have friends that work at ESPN, and we have friends in this media space that are on ESPN and do stuff with ESPN all the time. So not besmirching them completely.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault, but when it's just like being a parent, when you tell your kids to eat the vegetables, you tell them 100 times. They won't do it just to spite you. If you continually just put this in their face, the betting people, they know everything already. You trying to convince them to get on your app, just tell them you have a really good app and then have a really good app. If that is all you need to do, they'll find you.
Right.
If you have good prices, they'll find you. If you have unique markets, they'll find you. This constant barrage of over the head, we got this, that, baby. People will not do it.
Yeah. Just because.
Instead, they'll not make a bet than make a bet at your place if you're the only place available.
Yeah, it's something to monitor. Time for Better to Book. All right, Better to Book It time. I am going to go and continue my prime time same game teaser. Atlanta plus 11.5, under 52.
Are you perfect with these so far?
I am 3-0 so far in the year.
This makes perfect sense to me. I personally would rather take it down and go 40.
Okay.
And now it's 39. Go over 39 with this. But I don't know how they get 52.
Right.
I do know. Multiple special teams touchdowns or a pick six or something. You're going to need help,
right,
to get this one over 52. But
it's a high number. It's a key number. 52 is a key number for totals. So
that's 28-20 or something like that.
That's
written
fine.
all over it.
Yep.
I think it's over the total. Cubby, I wish they would hire me. They won't even talk to me. They won't even take the call. It'd be great. I'd help them. I'd help anybody that wants to help the business. You have to want to be in the business.
Right. And not be a marketing company.
That's it.
Yeah, it's true.
This is a bet.
Take bet. Bijan Robinson over 27.5 receiving yards tonight.
Receiving yards?
Mm-hmm. I think because I think they're going to use him in the screen game a ton.
Oh, this is interesting.
Get him on the edge. I think the Eagles. Kincade said the pass rush not good. I think the Eagles are going to blitz Kirk Cousins like crazy. Kirk can't move. He can't move. I blitzed the holy hell out of him. So I think they're going to blitz him. I think the Eagles are going to come off the edge and really pressure him, try to get to him and make him, be a statue and take him down. And to alleviate that, screens. Bijan, give him a screen pass, let him go.
I'm surprised. I don't know. I think I'd bet this. What was the juice on the over?
-110. Flat.
Okay.
Prop bets haven't had a lot of juice on them just because the books don't know what's really to do. When they put them up, they just put them up flat. And then we haven't seen like big moves. They'll move the juice on some of the numbers, but when it comes out, generally speaking, they're -110. That I've been betting at least.
Yeah, I would say book this one. I'm not crazy about him needing over receiving yards.
And then Jalen Hurts over 39.5 yards rushing. I bet
what
this
does he average?
Basically, he's 50, 60 yards, but he's 1-for-1 in this so far this year. It's the third week in a row I bet this, or second week in a row. Second week in a row I bet this. I bet it last week. I bet it in the preseason. I 2 times. Bet it once, second time betting this. So
I think this is a bet.
I think he runs a lot. He didn't hit it against the Packers, but I think it had more to do with game script.
Hurts' longest rush AOWN is 12.5.
I like the over on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bijan's numbers are up to 30.5. Okay, well, it ran a little bit. I have 27.5.
Okay. I wonder why.
Because I think they're using him in the pass game. I think they got to get the ball to him in multiple different ways.
Multiple times. Like how many receptions? What's his receptions number? 3.5?
2.5 or 3.5, probably.
It's got to be 3.5. I mean, he's going to get 27. It's 9 yards a play average.
Mm-hmm. But he could go for 40. I mean, he could go one screen pass. It's Bijan Robinson. He's got big play potential written all over him. Like, that's why, like yesterday, I bet Justin Watson for the Chiefs back-to-back weeks, and he's hit back-to-back times because he has 16.5, and he has one big catch for 20 yards every game. Like, just use him with one big shot. So you get one big play out of Bijan, and it goes over. So 30.5, I don't know if I played at 30.5, but at 27.5, I felt good about it. Potential of him having one big play or two big plays to have him go over with that. Kirk's gonna have to get rid of the ball. Like, I think Kirk's got to get rid of the ball fast tonight because he's going to get pressured by this Eagles team.
Do we see Michael Penix tonight, sir?
I doubt it. Unless Kirk gets hurt. I really doubt it. In week 2, gave Kirk a 3-year contract. I doubt it.
No, I mean, if he gets dinged up.
Oh, if he gets hurt, yeah, for sure. But no, I don't think he gets knocked out of the game. If you guys are with us live, stick around. Bonus time. And favorite thing about today, if you're watching the replay on Sports Grid or listening on SiriusXM, thank you. Back tomorrow to recap Monday Night Football with the Eagles and the Falcons. Bonus time starts now. Justin Watson's new Mr. Applebee's 2 for $20 special. It's kind of true. It's what he is. That's what he's done the last 2 games. So it's been fun to see the props for him hit over the last 2 weeks on that. Hurts missed last week, but I'm right back to it, betting it again. So to see what happens with this tonight. But I don't mind Bijan over his rushing number, but it was like 70.5 last night. And I was like, if the Falcons are down, they're going to be throwing the football a ton.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
That's a good number. I was going to say, I was just thinking in my head, wonder what his rushing number is. I was going to say 74.5. That was always around. It was either around 75 or 70, depending on, what team it was. And rarely is it any more than that.
So I was afraid of that. I was like, that's going to be tough. So I went with receiving over rushing. Favorite thing about today is what?
I have one bet or book it for you.
Sure.
I know you're not paying attention to baseball much anymore.
0.
But Twins Guardians.
Oh my God. Who's throwing for the Guardians?
Boyd.
Oh my. Don't know who that is. Okay.
Twins are favored.
Who's going for Twins? Lopez?
Yep. I got Cleveland. Bet it or book it.
I mean, I would say book it and then you'll win because it's me with baseball. So, right. Walk to the window and catch that ticket.
I like Cleveland. That's a playoff series. That's going to be fun. The Phillies are playing the Brewers.
Who's Matthew Boyd? I would need to know who Matthew Boyd is. Covey said hammer the Guardians. Okay.
Okay. That's just keep an eye on that one. And then out west late, Houston is playing San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very short price with Darvish at home. -125 against Arrighetti in the Astros.
He's a fade. Arrighetti's a fade.
Well, that's another one. Bet it or book it. I got the Padres -120.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. Book it.
Take Houston. All right.
Yeah. I don't
That's
know. Padres fine. I mean, take the Padres. You're at home. Darvish is pitching at home. Yeah, take the Padres. Arrighetti's a fade. I'm not a fan of him. Astros. I hate the Astros. Though.
I know.
I hate the Astros. Period.
Relax. The Houston sponsorship isn't coming, so just
no. It's fine. I'm glad the Texans. I think
they look good.
We're in bonus.
They look good.
I think Collinsworth needs to get off his knees and stop blowing the whole franchise. I mean, like it was a little. It was obscene yesterday. We're in bonus time. I can say it.
You can.
We're in bonus time. So I was like, dude, what are you doing, man? I was like, relax. Like, I know they're young. I know they're good. I know they're fun, but Jesus, dude. Like, he was just over the top yesterday. I was
very excited about it.
Yeah, they almost lost the damn football game. They had a one-possession game. If Caleb Williams had an offensive line worth anything, they could have gone there and won the game. Like, I was like, dude, it's a 6-point margin right now, right? Like, you know this game is, like, very much in depth. It's in doubt. It's not like the Texans are running away with this. Justin, this is unbelievable. I just can't get over this CJ Stroud and the passes and the fucking mother and all this shit. Like, give me last night was like, yo, like, can we please, like, I know he's making fun plays. He's not converting on third down. Their offense completely stagnated in the second half. There was no talk about that at all. There was no conversation about what was wrong with the offense in the second half. It was like, am I watching the same game that Collinsworth is watching? Because this offense can't move the damn football. Like, what are we doing? Like, the Bears defense is supposed to be suspect, and all of a sudden the Texans are like, I couldn't get over it. I was like, Collinsworth. I was like, dude, like, seriously, what are we doing? And like, he gave Caleb some credit, but it was always couched with some type of like, well, in the future, Caleb will do this. In the future, he'll do this. Like, it was funny because even in the broadcast, Tirico said, get ready to see a lot of the Texans, as we've got a lot of primetime games with the Houston Texans. I was like, oh, so that's why Collinsworth is doing this, because they're trying to hype up watching the Texans all year being on primetime. So this is why he's over.
Which might be like watching Mirab.
Maybe boring. Look, the Texans are going to be fun. Okay, I like their team a lot.
They're going to be good. I don't know how much fun they're going to be.
Oh, I think look, Stroud's fun. I love Tank Dell. Nico Collins is tremendous, although his attitude a little bit needs to be adjusted. I thought the referees missed a Houston player punching a dude in the face on the sidelines, and they just let that go, which was like, okay, interesting. Like, they're a good football team, but like, hold on, like. Stroud's is a second-year player. Okay, I get it. The Bears are going to have a top 10 defense this year, Vinny.
Whoa, Vinny.
Whoa.
Whoa, Vinny.
Okay.
Those orange uniforms
are awesome.
They're terrible.
I loved them last night. I thought that was awesome.
Those orange helmets with the orange jerseys were horrific.
I'm in. I liked it a lot.
The home team wears the white. You go hit them with your home uni. You don't hit them with the alternate orange.
I like it.
Pittsburgh wore black in Denver, and it looked fantastic.
I liked it. I liked the orange. I thought it looked great. I was a fan. Yeah, I like it. I think the Bears uniforms are boring.
The chat.
The Bears uniforms are boring.
What?
They're boring. The Bears uniform's boring. I like that orange. It spices it up. Yes, it's a boring uniform. It's not fun. The C is boring. It's just a boring. It's a historic, long. It's like
What's
the Browns.
Wrong with that? It's classic.
It's fine. It's boring. Classic's boring. Boring. The Browns are boring.
George Hallis.
Yeah, boring. Boring. Old.
Walter Payton.
Boring.
Dick
Old.
Butkus.
Yes. Boring. Old. All boring. All old. Yes. So I like it. Give me something different. Spice it up. New team. New coach. Well, not new coach, but new quarterback. Yes, I like that orange. I like that a lot from the Bears. That's cool. Like, come into the modern time. Like, let's go. I like it a lot.
It is too much, Brennan.
No, it's not too much at all.
AOW and the orange helmet and jersey are too much together. Brennan says worst jerseys were week 1 Giants jerseys. Hideous. Yes. Daniel G. God, I love this show arguing about colors of the uniforms. Those uniforms sucked.
Those uniforms are great. I loved them. I turned it on. I was like, oh, that looks awesome. I agree. See, punch drunk nose. They were awesome. It looked great. I thought it was awesome.
Oh man,
I loved it. I thought it popped. I thought it was a new look, new for Caleb. I liked it a lot. I'm in. Like, let's go. More of that. Give me more of that personally. Favorite thing about today is what?
2 things. 1, all the pictures of the hats. And everybody, if you haven't seen them, Peter, I'll put that back up real quick because we got these sent to us from you guys. This is Brigade made exactly. I mean, because we got Corbin, the hat doctor, making the hats. You guys kind of pick the colors. I personalize them, and get them done and then send them to you. And Matt put this together this morning and sent it to me. And I said, well, there's my favorite thing about today. That's awesome. There's Georgie Mason and the Phillies stuff. That's Rainmaker Lou in the pit at the pit game. Joe C. Myers, one of our statisticians, and all this other stuff down in San Antonio, Texas, going to a wrestling event. And then you got, the 3 amigos, OGs from back in the day that were all here for our first time doing a live show. Chef Benny's at the Patriots game. He came out for the live show. Jay Dalbetz is at the Ravens game. He came out for the live show. Mikey Awesome right there at the Old Dominion football game came out for the live show. So it's a way of connecting with you guys that I can honestly say we didn't see coming, but I fucking love it. And it makes me just excited to see different parts of the country, different people showing stuff. So whether you wear hats or not, if you want to get a hat, I mean, it helps us. And then, you can kind of design them. The kid can come up with something for you as far as, when you pick a base color that's easy, white or black, you can use your imagination and come up with the different colors. So that is pretty cool. And we're going to do that every week. So when you're at a sporting event, put the hat inside the jacket, whatever you got to do, go take a picture with the hat and go put it back in the car. It's just fantastic. And you can match it with your uniforms, whatever, stuff you want. I mean, this one here is like the White Sox model hat, but I mean, it goes with gray and black, anything. I mean, this goes with a black t-shirt. It goes anywhere. So that is my one favorite thing about today. Again, thank you guys for sending the pictures and all that stuff. I absolutely love it. And those hats look fucking great. I got to tell you, you guys are curling them up a little bit. You're going with the flat hat. You got the dad hats. We got all different things. I'm talking about getting bucket hats done and then beanies. I mean, Chef Benny sent us the first BVB beanie that we made.
And bucket hat. He did both.
That's right. He brought the bucket hat for the hot show.
I have them upstairs. Yeah.
I wear it when I go for walks sometimes. But yeah, so we're going to expand that as well. And then
Leg show. Did you forget to put in your survivor pick?
Oh boy. Was that you? Leg
Was
show
that
magazine?
You? Yeah, DM us. Send a DM. That was you.
Somebody named Leg Show Magazine forgot to put in their Circa Millions picks or their
You
Circa
had
Survivor
us.
picks.
You had. Oh no.
All you had to do was send us a text. Oh no.
You had us.
You.
We would have done it for free.
Absolutely.
Just to keep you in the game. We would have just
ever let that happen. You guys are watching the show. You know somebody's in the contest, whatever. Just send them the text number and explain the situation. We can help you. That's the purpose of the proxy.
We can take care of it. Don't ever get a zero. Don't ever get a zero.
That's one of our things. We won't let you get a zero. If we don't hear from you, we try to get you down and catch up to you and you don't respond, we'll put something in so you don't get a zero or you don't miss and get knocked out of the contest for a dime from not participating. I saw that Lake Show magazine. I texted you. I texted you and the admin team. I said, this might be one of the guys that listens and watches the show all the time. He got a really cool avatar with a really nice looking pair of legs. So the pictures and the hats, my one favorite thing about today. Number two, we got our sponsors and things lined up for the fall and we got it kind of settled. And it's a buzz about it that we got mentioned by Ruddick, who's been on the show in a newsletter today, to let the world know that we're out there and that we're open for business and that we're trying to we're not going anywhere. We want to take this thing to that next level and just keep going. We've taken the necessary steps by doing almost 700 shows.
Approaching. Yeah, we'll be there in November.
And changing, overlays and getting guests like, Kincade's a big time radio host in Philadelphia. Yep. James Santore is a content marketing officer for a company that's been named as one of the come ups in the space. Like, this is real stuff. And it never felt more real than it did once we completed all the picks on Saturday and we got to take a breath. And then, we had our own envelope Monday today, and it was just one of those things where I'm just like, shit is real. And beyond thankful for all of you and all of it.
I mean, I think one of the fun things that you guys have done for us, like we took ownership of the show when we started it. It was our idea. We put it together, but I don't think either one of us thought how much you guys would take it and run and make the logo something that you want to have on your head and have on your person and constantly ask us for it, and us having to figure out, okay, what's the way to do this? Like we're still trying to figure out what's the best way to do this. Like we want to have a store. We want to have ways of giving you guys things. Remember, Dave's going to give you 3 hats. Tomorrow we'll make the announcement as to who's going to win the 3 hats. So go and leave a comment on this video or on Friday's show, and we will pick a winner and announce it tomorrow on the show for 3 hats.
You can just get 3 different,
just 3 different hats.
You get 3 the same. I don't know. I made 4 the same for the Nebraska guys. They wanted 4 hats. They got them all the same. But whatever you want, you get 3 hats on me. Pick the colors and tell me where to ship them, and you'll get a box with 3 hats.
And we could do all sorts of different things, but that is a huge, like, where does this show go next? I think the show goes to 1, more live shows. I think you're going to see more live shows in the coming months.
Yeah.
And 2, more on-site location shows, meaning us leaving Vegas. That's going to happen more often. I think people want us to come out. They want us to be a part of, we're going to come to you guys. We haven't been to the Northeast yet, which is somewhat of a ridiculous thing to say, but we haven't. We haven't done the South yet, which we will. We will. And Pacific Northwest, we haven't done that yet. We'll do that. We haven't been to Texas yet. We'll do that. Okay. There are all these different places we haven't gone yet that we're going to be going and doing and being a part of. So, that is and then the gear. I mean, obviously trying to figure out a way to get the hats into your hands as simply and easily as possible without making Dave be a full-time hat creator, because he could turn into that if we're not careful. With him just sitting there with Corbin going, next, keep it going. So that's where the show is going to go, but it wouldn't have gone anywhere if it wasn't for you guys. I mean, that's you guys. If you guys want the stuff, you guys want it. Rob, Detroit. I mean, Charleston would be fun. Detroit would be fun. Yeah. I mean, all those places. Orlando, Florida. It's muggy as holy hell, Yorkie down there, but maybe, Michigan, Atlanta, or Nashville. Covey, you might be onto something. I'm not going to say more, but you might be on something on that. That might be a little bit on that as to where we might wind up going. So yeah, if we do New England in the winter, you might get stuck there. That's very true. We might get stuck in New England. That's very true. Yeah. Or we just stay at Amanda's house and just hang out there. I guess it wouldn't be too difficult, but we'd have somewhere to stay if we had to go ahead and do that. But
Addison and Wrench said we should do Croatia.
Oh my God. International? Maybe.
Long trip.
I mean, hey, like, go
football season.
Go do a hockey trip, go to Toronto and go to the Hall of Fame and go do a hockey trip in Toronto. The first international trip to do something like that. So live from a wedding. No, we're not doing live from a wedding. I'm just doing play-by-play and saying meet curtains.
Wedding in Vegas.
Saying meet curtains and shit. What's going on? That'd be fun.
Listen, if Daniel G gives me an invitation here, I'm going. I'm going to the wedding. 100%. I know him and his wife. 100%.
Unbelievable. Too good. Guys, have a great Monday. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We're back tomorrow, a little bit later start on a Tuesday. We do Mondays early, and Mondays and Wednesdays are a touch earlier, a little bit later on the start time tomorrow for a Tuesday to recap Monday Night Football. Dave, Matt, thank you to Rithmm Monday. Thank you to James Santore. Thank you to John Kincade for coming on. Tomorrow, we're trying to get a special guest. I won't say more, but if we can figure it out, it could be fun to have a certain guest on for tomorrow's BVB. Dave, Matt, back tomorrow here for another episode of the Bostonian versus the Book.